Well, hey, guess what time it is? It's 11:11. It's been a long while since I managed to live stream at 11:11. Yesterday, we all experienced a little non-connectivity all together. How'd you fare? I think it was good. I didn't notice it much till after it was done. I did notice it a little because I tried to live stream at 11:11 from the top of a mountain and wasn't able to, but I thought it was the mountain. I didn't find out it was the universe till I got back. Oh, it's not the universe, is it? Yes, it's all the universe. Hi. How you doing? I'm still silly. I got my house to myself for a second time in less than 2 weeks. That's pretty exciting. That's a rarity. I might have it again in a week or two, or a day or two. Mostly, I've been slacking a little, as is also usual, and my body is feeling it. Got into some Halloween candy yesterday. Oh, that's not good. And didn't do my stretches, and so my body is suffering, punishing me for it. I don't know if it's punishing me or I'm punishing it, but in any case, I'm here to do a little stretching, a little strengthening, and mostly a lot of letting go of stress, because I find if I don't do that regularly, it just accumulates and swells up my joints and things explode and stuff. So on that note, I'm going to take a couple breaths to bring my awareness into the bottoms of my feet and root myself into the center of the earth. I invite you to do the same or do something else. I hope that you will do what feels good in your body and at least take a breath or two. Let yourself know you love ya. Let go of some stress. You could even just set it gently down and pick it back up. Do a couple deep breaths with me. I will remind you there's not one way, there's not one right way or one wrong way. It's just about checking in with yourself. Check your alignment. Let go of some stress. Do a little wiggling and jiggling. Check in on the hitches and the giddy up. I've got a lot of them today, so I'll probably be a little groany, a little poppy. Let's just take a couple deep breaths with some shoulder shrugs for starters, making sure not to lock the knees, rooting into the earth, rooting into the sky. Breathing up, putting those shoulders up in the ears, if I can get them up there, and then just letting that go. And again, breathing in, tensing up, and then letting that go. See if I can get some relaxation in there. Breathing in, tensing up. Oh, whoa. I've got some pains today. Pain enough to wake me up out of a deep sleep. That doesn't happen that often. I'm going to forward fold from the hips. That's below the waist. You put your hands on your hips. That's your waist. Folding from down here where the legs come into the pelvis. Making sure not to lock those knees. I'm going to swan dive down with a relatively flat back, coming all the way down toward the ground. I'm going to bend the knees to let myself put my hands on the ground and then just playing with bending and straightening those knees while I relax the belly and the back. Just taking a couple breaths to come into a relaxed hanging from the hips position if I can. Letting gravity do some unwinding. Trying to let go of that head and neck, where I've got a lot of tension today. I'm going to add just a little bit of gentle weight or encouragement. Do a little bit of neck rubbing there, and then just letting gravity do some unwinding. Relaxing the belly, relaxing the back. Just feeling that like getting a little bit longer. I'm going to roll up, pushing from the bottoms of the feet, tipping the tailbone first, and just bringing one vertebrae at a time. Back up to upright, shaking that out. I'm going to do that again, forward folding again from the hips with a relatively flat back. All the way down toward the floor and just hanging here again. From the hips, letting gravity do some unwinding. And this time I'm going to bend the knees and swing the arms back. Rolling the shoulders back a bit and lifting the arms and chest. Coming into a counter stretch. Nice and slow to let that head rush dissipate so I don't pass out. And then again, forward folding with a relatively flat back. Just finding a little flow here. Bending the knees, circling the arms back again, lifting the chest. Pushing the hips forward, lifting the eyes. And again, just with a relatively flat back, circling down. And pull gently to the left. And then lifting that left arm, adding more of a twist. Just wringing out those organs. And coming back to center. And then pulling over to the right, using my left hand on the right arm, and then lifting that right hand. Ooh, I got a big hitch and a giddy up in my neck. So I'm just being gentle with that. Gazing up past the right fingertips. Nice and wringing out of the spine and the organs in the other direction. And then coming back to center and again. Pulling down the center. And then I'm going to roll back up. Again, tipping the tailbone first and just rolling one vertebrae at a time. I got some pains in there today, so just being gentle. Shaking that out a bit. I can do some more shaking things out. Got a lot of stagnation in there after not doing my stretches yesterday and eating candy. I don't know when I'm going to learn. I'm 50 years old and I still testing. Yep, candy still feels painful in the body. It tastes so good though, doesn't it? Stepping back with the left foot into a moderate lunge, pushing into that heel. Checking that the front knee isn't crunching past the front toes. Pulling that back hip forward, forward hip back. Tucking the tailbone under a little, just looking for a nice long and strong line. Through the core, supported with the spine and the abdomen. Let's bring those arms up, making sure not to crunch up in those shoulders. And then pushing through that heel, through the spine, onto that diagonal line. Just enjoying that diagonal sensation for a breath or so, and then I'm going to keep sliding that back foot out, coming onto the toe, still pulling this back hip forward, forward hip back, still looking for stability through the pelvis, and then bringing both hands down on the either side of that front leg. Very nice deep lunge. I'm going to straighten that front leg and drape the front body, upper body over lower body, still working to push into that back heel. Still looking for a perpendicular line with those hips and trying to relax the shoulders, just draping the upper body over the lower body. Very nice stretch there. And then I'm going to bring weight onto those hands and bring that front foot back to meet the back foot. Pressing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. Pressing into those heels. Let's try the heels, bending the right knee, pressing into the left. bending the left, pressing into the right, and again pressing into the left, and again into the right, and then again into both heels. Palms are wide, fingers are spread apart, nice and stable. Pressing through the arms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone, and pressing into those heels. I'm going to swing that left foot forward into a nice deep lunge. Just enjoying that. I like to add a little bounce. You bounce if you like to bounce, or don't bounce if you don't like bouncing. It's my unsolicited advice for the day. I'm going to step forward, or for the minute, step forward with that back foot, relaxing the belly and just hanging again from the hips. Letting the spine unwind for a breath or so. I'll give you permission to sigh if you need it. And I'm going to bend the knees, swing the arms back, lifting the eyes and the chest, pushing the hips forward, coming again into a counter stretch. Bit of a back bend, just enjoying that. And then coming back to neutral. Shake that out a bit. I'm going to step back with the right foot into another moderate lunge. And again, pulling the back hip forward, forward hip back, tucking the tailbone under a little bit, pushing into that back heel. Looking for relatively parallel lines with the 2 feet and relatively perpendicular line with the hips. Nice long and strong firm line through the core, supported with the spine and the abdomen. Checking that that front knee isn't crunching past the front toes. And just trying to press into that back heel. Lift the arms, making sure not to crunch up in those shoulders. And then push onto that diagonal line. Still just pushing through the heel, through the spine. Still pulling that back hip forward, forward hip back. Feeling for that energetic line out the fingertips, out the heel. Just enjoying that for a breath or so. And then I'm going to keep sliding that back foot out, coming onto the toe. And bringing both hands down on outside of that front leg. And then I'm going to straighten that leg. Just using my hands for a little bit of support as I come into a nice balanced forward fold over the one straight leg. Still pulling that back hip forward, forward hip back, looking for that perpendicular line. And draping the upper body over the lower body for a nice stretch there on the left leg. Trying to relax the belly, get a little deeper into that stretch. Relax the back. Still pressing into that back heel. Aiming my chin for my toes. And then I'm going to bring weight onto those hands and bring that front foot back to meet the back foot. Pressing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. Pressing into the heels. Let's try those heels again. Bending the right, pressing into the left. Bending the left, pressing into the right. And again, pressing to the left. Into the right, and bring weight onto the left and just lift that right leg, still keeping that hip closed, facing the ground. And then for contrast, opening that hip. Let's gaze out past the left shoulder. Do a little ankle rotation there. I find that challenging. And then closing the hip again toward the ground and bringing that back down. My feet is sliding on the tile. Adds a little dynamic. Again, pushing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, pressing into those heels, and then bringing weight onto the right. And then lift that left leg, keeping the hip closed. That's facing the ground. Just looking for that energetic line through the fingertips, through the spine, out the toes, and then opening that hip. Looking for toe confirmation over the right. checking on my circular ability, which is not flowy today, but that's okay. Just noticing. And then closing that hip again. Contending with the slippery feet. Putting both of those back down, pressing into those heels. I'm going to slide the body forward, lifting the chest and eyes, keeping those legs together. Just adding a little cobra stretch, dropping the belly, lifting the eyes and chest, making sure not to sink in those shoulders. Add some tongue stretch if you feel like adding to that. Making some silly noises. Like to just take a breath or so to really let the belly relax and drop. Try not to sink in those shoulders. And then lifting the hips again, pressing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone to the back of the head. And swinging that right foot forward into a nice deep lunge. Again, I like to add a little bounce. Bouncing is optional. You listen to your own body and do what feels good to you. I encourage you to try out different things. You never know. And also your body's changing. Believe it or don't, I'm going to step forward with that back foot. And just hang here again in forward fold. See if I can ease up any of that big hitch and the giddy up in my neck today. Just letting gravity do some unwinding. Relaxing there for a breath or so, and then I'm going to roll up again, pushing from the bottoms of the feet, from the center of the earth, tipping the tailbone, and bringing one vertebra at a time back up to upright. Shaking that out a bit. I'm going to do some qigong breathing, lifting the arms on the breath up, circling, and then stepping back with the left. Just blowing that behind me. Stepping forward, circling, and then stepping back to the right. Just like to feel into that energy with the breath. Center. Shake that out a bit. Still working on that hitch in the giddy up. Let's do a little bit of balancing. Before that, let's do some shoulder wiggling and big arm circles. Breathing in on the way up and then just exhaling on the way down. Filling the lungs and then just squeezing them out. You can get the knees involved if you feel inclined. Filling the lungs, dropping the diaphragm, and then squeezing that air out. Let's go the other way. Lifting, filling the lungs, and then just letting go. A couple more of those, just noticing. In the body today. Listening to the body. Let's do some shoulder rolls. That was big circles. We'll do some medium circles with the shoulders. Still just noticing. Breathing in, breathing out. Stretching through the shoulders. Let's go the other way. See if you can get those shoulders up in your ears. And then just let it go. Let's do some little circles with the fingers on the wrists. Checking in with those littler bones. Just Still add the breath if you're inclined. And the other way. Just shaking off some stress, checking in with the body. Do a little more stretching of those shoulders because I feel them trying to loosen up. There's a lot of stuckness in there today. Letting that go, bringing the other side. I'm going to do that a couple times. Just trying to loosen up some of that stagnant energy. Got a lot of accumulated inflammation in here. So just gently stretching, dislodging, loosening up a bit. Use this hand to kind of try to wiggle that around, and then using it to hold it, and using the shoulder to wiggle around. Those are two active and passive stretches in that same area. I encourage you to play around with the difference between passive, that's where you're not using the muscles to stretch the muscles you're stretching, or active, where you're using the muscles to stretch the muscles that you're stretching. Very different effect. Let's try that again on the other side. So holding the right arm with the left, and then using that arm to move that one around, and doing my best to relax this one. It's a work in progress. Arms are not accustomed to relaxing, and then for contrast, using the muscles of that right arm, just supporting with this other arm. And again, for contrast, stretching that with the other hand, and stretching it with itself. Let's do a little behind the back stretching, rolling the palms together, rolling elbows together, rolling shoulders together. And I'm going to start with pulling down, supporting that neck with the shoulders. Get a big hitch in there. Just enjoying that stretch. And then I'm going to bring that forward, making sure not to lock the knees. Forward folding with a relatively flat back, but bringing that stretch through the shoulders with me this time. And actively stretching. So I'm using the muscles to stretch. I'm pulling shoulder blades together, pulling elbows towards each other, pressing palms towards each other, and just exploring my triceratops ridges. Side to side, back and forth. And then just letting the tension go, keeping hands gently clasped, bringing those hands down. Let's get the low back a little check. And come down the backs of the legs. Say hello to everybody. They're still there. Check in with the backs of the knees, backs of calves, backs of ankles. Come around the front to the toes. Say, hey, toes. And then I'm going to slowly roll up as I check in with the front of the body. Giving the knees some love. Giving the thighs some love. Giving the pelvis some love. Reproductive organs, digestive organs, circulatory organs, hormones, and endocrine system. Just smoothing out these hard-working arms. They do so much for me. Gonna warm those hands and just put them on the face. Take just a breath or so to gather up any worries and stresses that are in the face and in the mind, and just give those to the arms, to the hands rather, to be let go of, recycled, given back to the universe. So let those arms swing freely, and then I'm going to repeat that. Warming the hands, bringing in loving, accepting, lighthearted energy. Breathing that in. Breathing out what no longer serves me. And releasing that back to the universe to be recycled. Just doing a little self-management stretching of the neck there. One more time, gathering warm, healing accepting, loving, present energy into my palms. Breathing that in. Breathing out what no longer serves me. And releasing that to the universe to be recycled. I got half a clap snap. We'll keep working on it. It's all good. It's a beautiful day out there. I hope you are finding some time, making some time, having some time to enjoy it, making some time to love yourself, because you are worth it. Remembering to let go of stress, because there's plenty more stress on the way. You don't have to hold on to all of it right now. You can let go. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for stopping by. It's good to see you and good to be seen. Don't forget to smile and breathe. Till next time. Peace.